What's your favorite scary movie?
We have such sights to show you.
Monsters!
All you have left is my desire.
My name is Frankenstein!
That man's got Mars!
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
See this? This is my bullshit!
I ate his liver with some fava beans and asked me this house.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Here's Johnny. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror.
Welcome to the debauchery.
What's up, all you horror movie loving fuckers? I'm Jay.
And I'm John.
Hey, and this is the Fright Flick FMK podcast where we watch horror movies and then we get on here and we let you all know if we'd rather fuck it, marry it, or kill it. And this week's episode is John's pick.
Yes, I picked this. I think if people have listened to enough episodes with me, they're like, oh, a demonic possession pick. Probably, and John's on it. That's not surprising. So yes, I did pick this one, and this is a rather new one, man.
It is.
I hadn't seen it until we did this. I needed a reason to watch it. I've been wanting to watch it, so when we did this, I was like, fuck yeah.
And when you hit me up to do it, for some reason in my mind, I thought I had already seen it. Because when you showed me the name and I pulled up, I seen the picture of it, I was like, oh, I've seen that already, so I'll just rewatch it. And I just sit down today before we record, and I was going to rewatch it, and it starts in, and I'm like 5 minutes in, and I'm going, okay, this is not the movie I thought it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, today was my first time seeing it, and but yeah, which one? What was your pick? What was your pick?
What do you mean my pick?
The name of this movie, man. You gotta let them know.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know if you usually do the introduction. That's fine. Yeah, so we are talking about Immaculate. Clearly, if you guys are girls and either or, neither nors are watching this, you see that in the title. Yes, 2024 Immaculate, directed by Michael Mohan and written by Andrew LaBelle. Stars Sydney Sweeney, and boy, there's some Italian ass names. She's like the only American, I think, in there.
Yeah, because all the rest of them are 100%.
Yeah, we got Alvaro Morte, Benedetta Porcaroli, Dora Romano, Giorgio Colangeli, and Simona Tabasco. The plot focuses. Yeah, I know Tabasco.
Yeah,
I'm a Texas Pete guy, but
I'm a Tapatio.
Ooh,
oh yeah,
that's the spicy. That's the authentic shit, right?
That's good shit.
Yeah, doesn't it have like a picture of some Mexican's aunt or something on the bottle of it?
That's up on there, but I know it. I could put that shit on everything.
But the plot focuses on a young novice who is invited to reside at a picturesque Italian convent, but slowly realizes the terrifying secrets it harbors. So yeah, this is just recently came out earlier this year.
Yep.
So I gotta ask you, are you familiar with Sydney Sweeney? Because like apparently everybody's talking about her right now. She was in. It was some romantic comedy that like fucking did gangbusters at the box office this summer. She was in that with some other dude who's both of it. Like the dude I think is in Twisters, the new Twisters sequel. He's the main guy in there. But I know like a lot of dudes are all like hyped up on Sydney Sweeney. What's your feelings on Sydney Sweeney from a complete just look standpoint?
Honestly, when this movie started, I thought, because I didn't even Google her, seen the name, and I'm the same as you. I've come across there's another podcast I listened to, and they had brought up her name. Yeah. And so they were talking about her. So when the movie starts, I honestly thought that it was that chick in the very beginning was her.
Ah, got you. Yeah, in the opening scene.
Yeah, in
gotcha.
opening, I thought that was her. And then, you know, when things goes down and then it finally shows her, and then I'm like, oh, this is the Sydney Sweeney. And
Right.
hey, if I will give her this, she definitely looked like a little nun girl.
So I looked because this is the first thing that I can remember watching her.
I don't remember her in anything else.
So I went and looked at pictures, you know, like obviously her made up and stuff, and she's fine, not my type. I don't get where all the thing is, but I liked her in this. Apparently,
you know who she reminded me of?
Who's that?
The chick that plays in. She is the sister to the chick that plays in the Conjuring movies. The girl.
The woman in the Conjuring movies is Vera Farmiga. It's like Thaisa or Tayeg, the one who's in American Horror Story.
Yeah, the young girl.
She's in those a lot. Yeah, she is actually that's her sister. That's in the Conjuring. You know, there's a big age gap.
She played in like a nun type movie, and I can't remember what it was called. And that's who she kind of reminded me of when it showed her. I thought of that girl that was the sister, and I'm bad with names, and I don't have shit pulled up in front of me, but that's who she kind of reminded me of. Yeah, I knew nothing of Sydney Sweeney at all. I had no clue who she even was until I watched this movie and I seen her, and I'm like, oh, this is Sydney Sweeney.
No, they definitely like played down her looks. Like this is not so like if anybody and I bring it up because if any dudes are out there that's just like all like into, she seems to be kind of like one of the it girls right now.
Yeah.
This one now I will say I don't know if any other movie. Yeah, you don't see her nude, but you do get to see wet clothing over nipples. So if that's a thing for you for Sydney Sweeney and that's not available in anything else she's done, you do have that here.
They do got some see-through white robes. It's like it's like t-shirt contest, wet t-shirt, but with like some holy robes.
It's like it's like an old house, like a house robe type thing that they all go around it. Yeah, so you get that, but I mean she's not dolled up in the least and everything like that.
Oh no, she plays off like just plain Jane little nun.
Right, and she's a nun, so that's good. They stick with it and everything like that. So like and I wonder if she was already signed on to do this, but it looks like the stuff she has coming up is going to be kind of like in a thriller horror vein. So maybe that's a thing she liked. I enjoyed her in this movie. She's good in horror. I will say that.
Oh, dude, there's a certain part of this movie to where she's just like, mwah, like just. And I did read something earlier that apparently she auditioned for this part back in like either 2014 or 2017 for this movie.
Oh,
it just kind of went away.
Oh, okay. She's a producer on this movie, so I wonder if like because she was starting to have some success, if maybe she went back and helped with funding. I mean, maybe who knows, especially with that kind of situation. But yeah, in this one, she's a nun. Okay, at the beginning, did you think that this movie was like in the olden days? I thought she was being interviewed by like Italian, like the Italians in World War II. When they were with the Nazis, like when she's sitting there and they're doing the passport thing and everything after the opening scene, I thought, and then suddenly it goes to the street view and there's cars. But I guess, so let's talk about the opening scene when you thought that was Sydney Sweeney and it wasn't.
Yeah. This old girl is, when it starts showing her because because I've never seen her. So as soon as it shows this girl doing her praying, I just assumed, okay, that's Sydney Sweeney and that's right character. And she starts kind of going around, and then when she goes into the little nun's whatever bedroom, she goes into her room.
Yeah.
She's like going to the drawer. And then when she opens that drawer and you see there's some keys. In my mind, here's the thought that kind of popped in my mind because I even put it in my little notes that I do sometime. It made me wonder, little question. I know as nuns, they have to do without. They are chastity belt type shit.
Okay, so we're talking about doing without sexually. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But then I'm wondering, as a nun, because I've watched a couple of nuns, like I recently talked about the First Omen and shit like that, and the nuns are like smoking cigarettes and shit. Even in this one, they're drinking the wine and shit like that.
Yeah, I'm still not sure. I know they can't have sex. Outside of that, I'm not sure if like priests and nuns can smoke, can drink, or whatever, because per the movies, it's all over the place.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering though, when she went to the little nightstand drawer, and I'm wondering, like, can a nun have a vibrator? Like,
I don't know, because there's a scene later where one of the nuns that Sydney Sweeney's sister Cecilia, that is Sydney Sweeney's name in this is Sister Cecilia. Well, the nun that she befriends, when they get sectioned off with underneath another nun, yes, when they get sectioned with that other nun, she's talking about like the batteries in her vibrator dying, but she says it in Italian, and she says it to Sydney Sweeney, and she hasn't learned Italian fully yet in this movie. So
I think it's because that's the first thought I had when I was like in a joking way, the way I am. Like when she went to the desk room, like, it'd be fucking funny if she has to like push a vibrator out of the way. And then later in the movie, when Gwen says that about the batteries, I was like, "Whoo!"
I guarantee for sure some are, because there's people when it comes to religion in general. There's people who can be like, yeah, it says that, but if you do it this way, it's okay. So, technically you could, because you're not having sex by the definition with a man or with anything. You are fucking an object, but I don't know. I don't know how.
But it says like, they make the little line, like when she does the vows and you hear them talk about time, like you'll do away with like, kind of like worldly things and shit like that. But then you turn around and you're smoking a cigarette on the windowsill. You're sipping some fucking some sweet ass wine, and I'm like, would it have been wrong if Sister so and so in the bed that night, if she had to push out a little rabbit vibrator out of the way to get to them keys?
Or maybe since they're not supposed to have possessions, you think maybe they have a communal one? Oh.
They have to like pass it around or sign for it.
Like someone comes in there and they're just scratching and they're like, who didn't fucking put it in the dishwasher when they were done?
Who the fuck signed out the Pulsator 2000? And
that'd be even worse, wouldn't it? If there was like a system to make sure of renting it so everyone had to know. That'd be terrible.
So if you pick it up and it's got a stench to it, you know who to go to the next Like,
who checked it? Like a book? Like a book someone left a note in, and you go back to the library and you're like, who checked this out last so I could say it?
You're coming down the hallway with a vibrator and a sign-out sheet in your hand, like, who the fuck couldn't clean it?
But when she's in the drawer, she gets the keys, and she's trying to escape, basically. And it kicks off real quick out the gate. And dude, when she's trying to fiddle with the lock, I was sitting there because she's sitting there running full steam, and she gets to this gate that's got the locks on it, and she's sitting there fumbling with keys, and I'm like, do you not know which key it is? And if so, this is terrible, because there's like 30 keys on that fucking ring. So she managed to get one lock off, but like she looks behind her and there's like a row of like 4 old nuns coming towards her, and like,
and then I'm sitting there, like when she stops and she turns and looks at the nuns and they're coming towards her, and I'm like, why did you stop fiddling with the keys?
I don't know.
Like, I would have never looked back. I would have just been like, key, key, key. When she stops and then she turns back around, when she finally gets the right key, opens the gate. And then you realize that they also have a chain around the motherfucker. Like there's a chain. So the gate only
double locked.
Yeah. And so I'm sitting there and I'm talking. At this point, I've realized I've never seen this movie. So now I am talking to her. Like I'm trying to help the girl out. I'm like, get your skinny ass through that fucking fence. That gate. Yeah. And so she does. She squeezes through, and I think, oh yeah, you made it, girl. Good for you. No.
Nope, they get the foot right at the last minute, grab the ankle, and they've got her. And apparently, them nuns have got some good grip on them because she can't get loose.
They pull her leg through the gate, and then you know how gates got the little rails in it.
Yeah, these are the iron gates. They're very gothic looking. And you I realized almost fit between the bars. Like if you were skinny enough, you could, but you could almost get through the bars. But big wrought iron fuckers.
And then this is the point where I realized that these ain't the normal nuns. These play because they pull her leg through the gate, and old girl screaming, and you see them take her leg and just literally swipe sideways with it. and you break that bitch off at the kneecap.
Dude.
And they let us see it. They let us see it.
No, and that is one thing. Neon is the studio that put this out. It did go into theaters and stuff like that. It came out in March 12th is actually when it came out. It did good. It made almost 30 million, a budget of less than 10. So it made money and it's done well and everything like that. But there's some violence in this.
Yeah.
There's little pockets of it here and there. And that one was particularly nasty, but then the screen goes black. And then at this point I was like thinking, because it shows Immaculate, or the credits start at this point. Yeah. Once they do the snap, and then they cut to old girl inside of a coffin.
Yeah.
Some kind of box, and she is being buried alive.
Yeah, because at this point, you don't really know the time that this is happening. When I seen her in that box, though, I thought this had to be like years and years. This is before like they started making nicer coffins. They got her in like a box, and she's in the ground. And like it's like they gave her a book of matches to fuck with her.
Well, you know what's fucked up is that fire needs oxygen to burn.
Yeah.
She's got a limited supply, so she's sitting there waving that around, and I'm like, you're literally killing yourself right now. Yep. Like if you're, but and it was really cool the way, like, because she had some great screams that she was producing, and the screams were like going on through the credits and everything, and I was like, all right, man, like fuck, we're in for it.
Yeah, because the watching that part. When she's in that box and you see she lights a match, and then as she looks up, you're seeing a little bit of dirt falling down. Like they're covering the hole now.
Yeah, she's done.
The match will go out, and you'll hear her heavy breathing. You'll hear her fiddling with the match. She'll light it again, and I'm the type like I'm not claustrophobic.
Yeah, but that would fuck me up.
Yeah, yeah. Part of me, I'm watching this part, and I'm going like, I could almost just imagine that fear of knowing this is it.
Yeah,
like there is no chance in hell you're getting out of this situation. Like you are in this box, you got these matches, like in this moment, and the fact that you can't do no more than push your arms up a little bit. You can't hardly turn over.
Yeah.
That just feeling like you just in that moment of just game over, man. Like,
yeah. And that's what's with like a buried alive on film. It can be kind of boring. The only thing that makes being buried alive on film good is the actor or actress's response when they do it. The believability. Whoever this lady was, I'm gonna see here. I'm gonna sneak down here and see, because like her name was Sister Mary. I figured there'd been a lot more of those. But so Simona Tabasco, the Tabasco lady, was her.
Oh
yeah, and you felt bad for her.
Yeah.
There was hopelessness in it. She had a lot of layers to her scream, and it was very effectively done. And man, and it kicks in this movie, big time. And then, like I said, at that point, we finally cut back to what is now modern day, and Sydney Sweeney is in Italy. She's getting interviewed by these guys who totally look like they're Italian SS troops, though, but they got those old school Italian, like Giorgio Armani looking fucking uniforms, and they just look like SS officers. That's why beforehand I was like, all right, what time period is this? And then when like she's getting driven to the convent, like it's like modern, I was like, oh shit, like those uniforms threw me for a fucking loop.
Yeah, they held on to the classics, they did not upgrade. And so and here's the part when I'm watching it though, because I just recently watched and talked about The First Omen. The First Omen kind of goes down the beginning the same way. Girl gets to the airport, girl gets picked up by this dude, they put her in a car, they're driving her, and she's sitting in the window looking out at the sights. And that's the same way First Omen started out, was like sitting there looking at the sights, and they're driving her out there. And the area, when it starts off and they're driving her out there, it's one of those, like, I like being by myself out in the middle of nowhere. And I loved the way they were like driving at these big open fields out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah,
Drive-
you seeing the Italian countryside.
Yeah,
Like this is a really old convent that this all takes. And I wonder, I mean, it looks like it from the outside. Like I wonder, and I should have looked. I wonder if they were if it was all shot in that location. Because like the inside and like I say sets, like man, like for the budget they had to have had access to have actually shot in that facility.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's beautifully done. I think they said in the movie, at least, they had said it was built in like the 1600s or something.
Yeah, because when they pulled up, they drive through that gate, and when they're pulling through, I was like, "Ooh, that's
that's the same gate." Yeah,
that's kneecap gate right there.
Yeah,
kneecap gate.
That's all the town's children talk about it. Yeah, like Crybaby Creek, kneecap gate.
Yeah, we got kneecap gate right there, and they roll up in this house, and she goes in there, and then I'm trying to because sometimes I wonder when I see movies that have like the nuns and stuff like that, and then this one that made me wonder. I'm thinking like they're in these big ass convents or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is y'all's job? Like, what do y'all do? I get it. Y'all gave up everything. But for this one, it kind of,
just praying all day. Like, what do y'all do?
You just light a candle and pray all day. I don't know. But in this one, the ladies explaining to her, basically, this is an old folks home for old nuns who are out in the pasture. Their time's up.
Yeah, this is like hospice. Like when the nuns get to this place, you're basically, I think they said something like, making it easy as they transition and stuff. Like they're dead. You're just supposed to make it good and stuff. And so they're touring Sister Cecilia, Sydney Sweeney, around for all this. It said something like she was like specially requested to come, which I mean, she hasn't even taken her vows yet.
No, she's supposed to. Everything
she's been working towards it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been working towards it and living that way, but she hasn't taken the full vows yet. There is a time, there's like a training period when you go into becoming a nun where they want to make sure you really like it. Because per them, once you take that vow, if you break it, like you are fucked. Like you're only going to hell. That's it. Like you don't back out of that one. So they give you a little test run.
Yep. And so she's there to basically, she gets there that day. She's taking her vows at like 5 o'clock that evening. Like this is going down. Day one, we get this old girl, Isabel, Sister Isabel, who's showing her around. And as soon as you see Isabel's got hater written all over her face.
Oh, dude, total like, cunt face. Cunt face.
Yeah.
No other way of putting it.
Yeah, she's looking at her girl like she just hates her right out of the gate. And I'm just like, at some point, in my mind, as soon as I see her, I'm like, "You're going to be a problem."
Well, yeah, because when the head nun told her to go show her around, she was like, "Well, I have this to do," and like the head nun, like just fucking put that dick down real quick and was like, "Bitch, you heard what I said. You better step." And she did, but she was total twat waffle, bro. Like just absolute, and that was the whole thing. I was like, this is gonna be the problem for her the whole time because. Also, too, there's this massive language barrier. And since it hasn't been that long of a time period in which they requested her, she hasn't fully learned Italian. Like she only knows a little bit. So this, you said, what was her name? Sister
Isabel or Gwen?
Isabel's the bitch, right?
Yeah.
Gwen's the friend. Isabel's the bitch. So like, again, so there's only like Isabel and Gwen, maybe a couple of others, the main priest, Father Tedeschi, but most of them don't even speak English. So she's even more limited on who she can interact with here because there's only a couple of English speakers. And now one of them is clearly an asshole. And that's Isabel.
Yeah. And I remember when she's showing around, then she comes up. She basically Isabel tells her like, this is going to be the time for the vows. And so she's basically getting ready or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is where the first time we get to see Gwen. Gwen comes just walking into the bathroom and jumps up in the windowsill and lights a cigarette. And I'm just like, you hear the vows and you're thinking, is there like little asterisks in the vows that we don't see? That it's like,
but you could tell when you look at Gwen, like you could tell she's one of those nuns that's there because like she lived a lot of life before she became a nun. Like shit went down. Like Gwen's seen some shit. Like she's one of those, you see her there and you're like, that makes sense. She could actually be wanted to be like, someone may want to kill her if she leaves here. Like she's got that past on her.
Gwen has gone and sowed them wild oats.
Yes.
Like, the oats spread far and wide for Gwen.
Yes. There's a lot of people who know her, and she's probably not interested in hearing their opinions on her anymore.
No.
But yeah, so they kind of become friendly, just kind of chatting and stuff like that. Well, then it comes time for the ceremony. The priest is all jazzed on her father, Tedeschi. What was his first? Sal.
Yeah. A minute on some of these. I'm a fan of religious type horror movies and stuff like that. And how come every time they give us the priest, whatever, they always put off this fucking creepy vibe? Like the bearded guy, as soon as he starts talking to her, I'm just like,
oh yeah, the main priest. Yeah, there's something very untrustworthy. But again, they kind of play to that because they talk about him requesting her. Yeah. And I mean, we're watching a fucking horror movie. So immediately you're just like, wait, no. He didn't request you. Also, too, because you're like, all right, well, I mean, like, again, I did not, for anybody who's into Sydney Sweeney, you're thinking, like, looks wise, she's a perfectly good looking girl. That's fine. I don't see anything special about her. But like, you got the priest. Here's this, good looking younger girl. She hasn't even taken her vows yet. She doesn't even fucking know how to speak the fucking language at the place you are hiring. She could not be less qualified for this job. And he brought her over specific. So you're like, oh man, this is going to be really bad. And he does nothing to make you feel like he's not slimy.
No, everything about it. Every time he talks to her, he puts off this vibe.
Yeah.
Just creepy.
Yeah.
And so when they go to do the vows, he's up there with the main priest guy.
Yeah, and he's the dude that's got the biggest hat there.
Yeah,
he's in charge because his hat's the biggest. Yeah. And I think that's how Catholics rank themselves. It's all about hats.
Yeah, this dude had the big hat. And so
it was tall and wide. It was a big hat.
They're all kneeling down in front of him. And because she does not speak Italian, bearded creeps up there and he's having to translate everything to her.
Yeah.
And so he's going through these vows with her. And one of the things the big hat guy puts his hand out and he's got the little ring on it.
Oh yeah, kissing the ring.
Dude, that to me is so degrading to me. I don't know what it is about it. I'm a dude, but the fact that he puts his hand out and like she even kind of looks up at the bearded guy, which was odd to me.
Yeah.
You've been in nun training for a while. You've heard about the routine.
Yeah, well, you would have figured because I mean, I don't know. I would have figured she's at least like went and seen a ceremony.
Yeah.
And maybe in that ceremony she didn't. Maybe it's more of an Italian thing, like a Godfather type thing. But yeah, she seemed kind of odd about it. And I remember being like, I bet like once the whole ceremony was over, like that priest was probably back there just smelling it.
Dipping
the fucking jewel right up his nose, just fucking like rock hard, like, oh fuck yeah, spit.
I got all them bitches that kiss.
Yeah. They're like, he kind of, the whole place, there's just a weird vibe in the whole place where
creepy.
It doesn't help that you got old women running around out of their fucking minds.
And can you imagine?
Of course they're creepy, dude.
It's because I don't do well with old people. I'm not one of those. I can never be one of those that would work and take care.
Oh, me neither.
Old people, it's, for me, it creeps me out. And
kudos to those who can, because I'm not.
Yeah, if you nurses or whoever, and that's your job, hey, you are the real MVPs because I can do it. And so, like, you're in this big convent, you got all these old nuns who have, they had a good run, they're out in the pasture, it's time for them to move on. And so you're there basically taking care of them. And I'm like, and that's basically what this place is for. It's like they're just there to cater to the OG nuns, and to take care of them, And then once again, we had the smoking thing. And then after the ceremony, it's a big dining hall with this creepy table shaped like a cross.
Yeah.
That was like,
Yeah, it looked like an evil cross.
It
Like
did.
it's one of those where it's so gothic looking. You're like, is that a good cross or a bad cross? I don't
Yeah.
know yet.
It's at some point bad things have happened on them tables, I'm thinking, and
Yeah.
we get
Got the wine flowing, got the good food out.
Yeah.
It's hopping in there for the ceremony after party.
Yeah, it's like because even the creepy bearded guy's talking to our girl, and he says something at one point, and he even makes a comment like, "Oh, maybe I've had one or two too many."
Yeah,
like, you're supposed to be like the one they look up to guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is that not the case here? I don't know. I don't know the rules anymore.
Yeah,
because everybody was, and there's a scene later where the priest who gave the speech with the main dude with the big hat, he's ripping a fucking heater. He's just burning a cigarette, and nobody around him looks like this is. They're like, yeah, this is what he does. He comes in, he takes off the big hat, and he smokes.
Yeah, I was confused as I'm watching them. I'm just like, because then she gives this weird story.
Yes, because everyone's wondering, obviously, that like they think that she's got a mysterious past because she's young. She's obviously pretty. Like it doesn't make sense for her to be wanting to commit to this lifestyle at this age and this period of her life. And so, that's when she gives the story about how she almost had a near death experience.
Yep, almost like apparently when she was 12, she'd go out on this water. Ice, whatever, that froze over every winter. She went out, took her gloves off, put her hands on the ice until her hands went numb. And apparently at some point she fell through the ice.
Yes.
The paramedics, basically, she had apparently died for a few seconds. They brought her back. Whatever.
No, I think he said her heart stopped for 7 minutes. I think.
Oh shit, was it? I didn't.
It was something like it was something around that where she had said that, and she said she feels like she's chosen from God for a greater thing, and. So like, at least at that point, we kind of know. I get it. That could fuck you up. I mean, being dead for, shit, man. Even at that age, you could be like, yep, gonna be a nun. God saved me for this. There's a purpose. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I laughed because a whole lot happens on day one.
Yes. It's just still day one, everybody. Yeah. She has not slept a single night in this building yet.
Day one, she gets there, she gets introduced, she has her vows, she has her little wine ceremony, and then that night, she's in their room and she starts hearing noises.
Literally everything does happen on day one here.
Yeah,
you are correct.
And she's hearing these noises, and she of course goes wandering to see these noises, and I'm watching it going, damn it, like this is day one, and this shit's happening now.
Well, yeah, and she doesn't have any fucking clue, like, where she's going. No, like they haven't fully shown her the grounds probably yet. They made it seem like when she got there, they kind of had to give her a quick tour. Then she needed to get ready because they were going to have that ceremony and all that other stuff. Like,
yeah.
So I don't know why I'm just like, all right, she's definitely just following. Like, you don't even know if you're about to go someplace you're not supposed to be going. Like, it could be off limits to you. You just took your vows. Like. But she stumbles across this fucking I guess it's like a chapel or something. Was it the chapel that she was in originally?
No, I don't think she'd been in there because
No, that's right. This wasn't the one from the ceremony.
No, this was something different. And she goes in there, and when she looks, you see somebody laying in the floor, like face down in the cross position, arms out to their side, and it looks like another nun just laying there.
Right.
And I'm thinking like, maybe that's the way this one.
Yeah, there's like a chanting prayer kind of thing this person's clearly doing in Italian, obviously.
Yeah, and she goes down there to it, and she kind of like tries to talk to her, like ask if it's okay. When this thing picks his head up and turns, it's got like a red hood over her face. So all you see like the nun top, and then this solid red cover over her face.
And it's tight too. Like you can see where it dips in some for the eyes and stuff. Yeah. And it doesn't look like it would breathe very well.
No. And then she gets startled by another nun comes up behind her.
Yes. This is the main head old nun. I forget her name. I don't know if they ever said it, but she's the main one who like handed her off to Isabel. She's like the mother superior, I think is what they call it in there.
Yeah. And so when she sees her though, and she startles her and she's asking her like, what are you doing? And so then I think, okay, our girl is seeing things already. Like she's
Yes.
seeing some shit. And
Yeah.
so I'm thinking, okay, she just seen this thing in the floor. Well, then the nun lady goes to show her something, and then the camera pans back, and this thing is still laying in the floor.
Yep.
A girl don't ask a single question. Like,
Well, she says something about like how some of them take their worship more seriously or something. The Mother Superior makes like a kind of an acknowledgement of it, but not like it's a big deal.
yeah, like
Not like and Cecilia just goes, oh, okay.
yeah.
And then they go up the steps and stuff and they do the cross and shit. And that's when Mother Superior whips it out.
Oh yeah. She goes for the grand. The grand.
And I knew when they grabbed it, I was like, is that what they're about to say is what it is? And it's supposed to be one of the spikes that went through Christ's hands or feet or whatever when he was crucified. And they have it. And she just hands it off to her.
Yeah.
To Cecilia and letting her hold it. And I'm like,
yeah, like you're just gonna let random.
Yeah, that's very nonchalant. Like you just handed that shit off. Like, what if she was like, I would imagine that if it was verifiable, that would sell for a lot of money. Like, how stupid would she have felt if Sydney Sweeney suddenly just like went, got it, and just fucking booked out of there? She was like an art thief the whole time.
Yeah, because when they pull it out of this little glass display case, and you can tell that's what this room is for. This big room to hold this little case that has this big spike in it that went through Christ's hand, foot, whatever. And when she takes it, and Cecilia just stands there and she just puts it in her hand. And I'm going, I have a feeling that all the other newbie nuns did not come down there and put hands on a 2,000-year-old spike and just hold onto it like it's like, you know, you go to the zoo and they pull out the little pet snakes for you to like hold.
Yeah.
It was like,
who wants to hold a gecko?
Like who wants to hold the spike? You know,
like literally, it would have only been more casual if she would have just like tossed it and I'm like heads up, like to her. Like, otherwise, it was like it was no big deal. And again, you bring this up that clearly the other nuns don't have it, because if that was something that was like, you know, kind of a part of their thing, you would have figured they would have already known. Like everybody would know this church has that. So it's got to be about keeping things like very hush hush. Like there's even churches now that claim to have like the Ark of the Covenant and a lot of other like religious artifacts, but they never let anyone see them. A, they could be lying. B, they don't want you to actually know. Maybe they actually legitimately do have it.
Yeah.
But
they're not going to let you put your little fucking grubby hands all over it without putting on some protective gloves or something.
Yep. And then, so she gets that, and then
she gets dizzy.
Yes, and that's when she gets dizzy and she falls down, and then that's when she has this weird dream where she's like in the confessional booth, and I thought it was seeing the priest is like sitting there, she's trying to confess, and he's like getting further and further away, and then it was like a little jump scare scene. It was good. Well, then she wakes up in bed, and at that point, what is that, like the next morning?
Yeah, it's like day 2 now.
Finally,
the
first morning.
When she's having that dream though, and she's in the confession booth, she's like, forgive me, Father, it's been 3 days since my last confession. And I'm sitting there going, what do you have to confess to? You've been there for like fucking hours. And then she come into like, you know, because she took it as her passing out, as her having too much to drink.
Yes, that's right. She rationalized it in her head that's what caused her to faint, is because she had too much wine and that she embarrassed herself.
Yeah.
And I was like, boy, like she's at least already got the Catholic guilt down fucking pat. Even though she's just took her vows, because I was like, you passed out. You should be worried about your health, not if you're half of a glass of fucking, you know, Cabernet fucking went a little to your head and now you're embarrassed. Like that was fucking weird.
She ran straight to the box. It was like,
oh my God. Oh my God.
Bad. I too many wines.
I passed out. Clearly I did something wrong. Like,
this is my fault. My bad, you know. Yeah. And then that next day this is kind of like when finally like the not head nurse, but the head nun basically tells, she's teaming people up And
yes, some people's going to be under the old Mother Superior,
Yeah.
and then she's giving some of them to Isabel.
Yep.
Yeah.
And our girl Gwen and Cecilia end up with Isabel, you know.
Yep.
And so then it kind of shows them, they're basically showing them what their jobs are going to be, you know, taking care of these older ladies, you know, doing the sheets, doing the cleaning and stuff like that. So we're just on day 2 here. And then that night she's in bed. This is where the creepy old lady comes up. You see a pair of scissors.
That's right. Yeah,
bed.
she snips the hair. She
Yeah.
snips some of Cecilia's hair and is talking about like her being holy and all this other stuff.
Yep.
And I mean, and this woman,
the old lady calls her Saint Cecilia.
yes, and she's talking about, you know, how happy and all this other stuff, and so she like helps the old lady get back to bed.
Cecilia is just so far clueless.
Yeah. I mean, I guess at the same time, like, okay, she's crazy and shit like that, but yeah, I mean, she definitely carries an air of being very naive. The whole fucking movie until it basically is undeniable that like there's some trouble a brewing. And then after this is when it kind of montages of time kind of going by, you know, several weeks of settling in and doing shit.
Her and Gwen having a good time, you know?
Yeah, they're becoming friendly and all that other stuff. And then they have this bathroom that has this massive ass tub. It's like a communal tub, communal showers, whole shebang.
I was disappointed right here. I was disappointed.
Yeah, all of them are wearing basically like big baggy long johns, like think Victorian era underwear kind of shit. They're bathing in that. They're bathing in that.
I call them holy robes. I'm just
Dude,
holy robes.
What is that? What is those like some of the Muslim women, they use the burkinis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it basically looked like that, like just take off everything from like the neck up.
Yeah,
it was basically that, and that's what they're bathing in. And I'm like, you're not getting clean enough doing that. That's
they get
gross.
In the bathtub wearing these white robes, and they're like, you see them like at one point, like one of them's brushing her hair, and I'm sitting there going, so y'all, this is how y'all take a bath fully clothed with this on? Like, you're not getting to all the sweet hot spots that you need to be getting to.
If you're that worried about them seeing each other naked, why the fuck did you build a big ass communal? Like, this place looks like a fucking Greek. Like, there should have been dudes fucking each other in this bathroom. Like, it looked like one of those. It looks like a Greek bathhouse. Like, there should have been some hard male on male, just fucking ram and go. Absolutely. This was not a place for women of chastity. This is a place for greased up dudes to bang their co-workers before, you know. But at this point, her and Gwen, Cecilia and Gwen, they're kind of chatting. Well, Cecilia gets sick, leans over the side of the big old tub and starts fucking puking.
Yep. And then Gwen makes comment like, I'm going to get the nurse. Well, then it kind of does a little screen flash, a little different shots, and you see a part where they have Cecilia in there with the doctor, and you see
the cup.
They hand her a cup.
Yeah.
And when I see that,
get a pee sample.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I guess she's gonna pee in the cup. But when I seen the cup, then my mind starts going like, is this girl gonna be pregnant? Like, you know, that's what I thought when I seen the cup. Anytime you haven't pee in the cup, you assume that's the next step. They're checking to see. And after that, you see her kind of waiting out in the little hallway. Well, then they call her in.
Oh, yeah. This is the Mother Superior.
Yep.
This is the creepy younger priest with the facial hair. Big hat priest. I think it's when he's fucking actually ripping his heater.
Yeah, he likes a cigarette.
And, of course, they have a doctor on staff there because they're taking care of people. They have a residential doctor there. He's there, clearly. And yeah, dude, that's when she starts getting grilled by the fucking cardinal guy.
Yeah, they're talking to her like you have fucked up. Like, and at the same time, I'm watching it and I'm going like, you know, I get it. It's a movie. I don't know if that's real life. I don't know if that's how it is. If you get talked to that way, but there's a part of me that would just be like, you know, fuck this. like I ain't fucking answering your questions.
Yeah, well, and even like when they kept asking about sex, like they went through the vow stuff and making sure that yes, I am broke as shit. I don't own anything. Yes, I do, believe, pray, whatever. And then yes, I've been chased. And they keep asking her, and they're asking her about stuff like before she arrived and stuff like that. And then what I found to be really fucking weird, because the beard priest, the younger one, he's like, we can work through this. You just got to be honest with us and shit. But then the doctor informs the cardinal that he does know, in fact, that her hymen is not broken.
That's what I was waiting for you to get to.
If there's anybody watching in the comments and you guys know some nuns or anything like that, is that a prerequisite? Because the whole thing is that when you become a nun, your past is your past. So if you were a prostitute and you had sex with 10 different dudes every day of every year for 10 years, none of that shit matters when you become a nun. You just don't do it anymore. So why are they like getting out just a prerequisite hymen check? Is this doctor fucking telling girls they have to have a hymen check when they come in just so he can finger nuns?
But here's the thing I'm thinking, though, when I was seeing it, I was like, maybe they knew ahead of time she was coming. Because later on when you see the folder where they have the news clipping of her falling in, they have followed her. And so
because when she's in there in the medical room is when you first see the folder. She sees her picture like clipped to a folder that the main nun has, and like they're looking at it, and walks by, and she's like, that's when she realizes, like, fuck, they have a file on me.
Yeah. And so whenever the doctor says that about the hymen thing, I'm thinking, did this old girl go in there, throw her legs up, and let this doctor, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how to tell if the old hymen is still intact. I know
Imagine you got to run a finger up in there, though.
Yeah, I know
you can just peek.
Yeah, it's not like you can just have her spread her legs and you take a look at the old vagina and be like,
yeah,
that's a good hymen down there.
Yeah, that's a fantastic hymen.
Yeah, you got a good looking hymen down. No, there's a way they get to go. So did she go in there, throw her legs up, and let the doctor come in there and just kind of, diddle around?
Just do a swirl real quick.
Yeah, and then be like, you're good.
I'm with you, but the movie goes right along. It states that like it's like there's no reason not to say that, and it never goes back to it again. So you're never gonna we get left hanging on that. However, we do at least know that she has an intact hymen, and she's pregnant.
Yep.
And they're kind of like all like the nun and the priests and the doctor are all kind of freaking out because, as the title of the movie goes, we got an immaculate conception on our hands here. So of course they're like, oh, she's this and all this stuff. So it's weird though that like at the same time too, I was like, all right, because they immediately were like, oh, this is a blessing. This is a gift from God. And I'm like, man, you guys did not do enough follow-up stuff, because I would personally imagine that there is physically maybe a way that if you had sex, that a chick could have sex and maybe the hymen wouldn't rupture. I feel like you could, like,
if somebody wanted to shove a little like turkey baster up there, is that, something narrow with a little jizz in it? Like, is something small that you shoot up in there? Is that going to, I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know. I don't know if
it's like a little wall, that like
it's like it
gloriously opened up at some point when
but with the human body, like there's always medical anomalies. So even if, let's say, they're like, yes, 10 times out of 10, if there's penetration, the hymen's going to break. Okay, there's still a weird off chance. These people did no further vetting after this moment, though. Took it immediately. It's an immaculate conception. This is a gift from God. And then they immediately put Sister Cecilia on this like pedestal. Dude. Like the whole convent at this point, apart from the old ladies they're taking care of, everything runs around her now.
Yeah. She has,
which of course is pissing Isabel off.
Oh yeah, because you get to see after they find out she's pregnant, because you see her do like an ultrasound and shit. But the next thing you know, you get a shot of Cecilia, whatever, she's in a nice ass looking little robe, fancy, like they literally have a Mother Mary.
Yes.
Dressed her up like the Mother Mary, and she's standing there. She's got nuns getting her dressed, catering her to her. Like, she is now looking down on the peasant nuns.
Absolutely.
And Isabel ain't happy. Even Gwen, like, because when she walks into the little eating area, all the other nuns stand up.
Yeah, and Gwen doesn't. Gwen stays seated, which to me, I was like, that's a good friend right there. Because if I was Cecilia's probably like, I'm really tired of this shit. But yeah, Cecilia sits next to her, and I guess they're still kind of chummy. But you can tell Cecilia's kind of weirded out by all this too. Like, she has no fucking say in it and really doesn't want this attention.
No. And Gwen's like you could just tell, like, and you could tell, like, Isabel was looking at her as like a jealous type way. Gwen was looking at her in a way that's kind of like, you know, she kind of knows something ain't right. Something's wrong here.
Like maybe her friend's in trouble because of this. Like, this is not good that this has happened to Cecilia. And so then we kind of get some, it's going on, she's getting the little belly going and everything like that. Well, then we're back into the bath. This time it's the big bathtub, but it's only Cecilia. Nobody else is in the bathroom now. Nobody's in the tub. Nothing. She's got the full run of it. She's just laying there kind of soaking until fucking Sister Isabel decides to run up in there and tries to fucking drown her.
Oh yeah.
And makes a damn fine attempt at it.
Oh, she does. Like, so she comes in, you see our girl just kind of laying there. Next thing you know, you see some hands come in over her neck and head and under the water. And then next thing you know, we got two chicks up in there with the holy robes on.
Oh yeah, wet
t-shirt,
absolutely wet. If you like wet t-shirt stuff, this is a great scene for you.
And they're in there just wrestling around, and she's basically, at some point, she's got Cecilia. Game over. Like, she's under there. Isabel's on top. Like, she's done.
Yeah, I didn't know what was about to happen because I was sitting there being like, all right, like, with how the time had progressed of her being under, I was like, bro, this bitch ain't got long at all.
No.
Like, they're going to have to, like, and then I thought, like, okay, is it going to be a thing where, like, she's going to, like, have another near-death experience, which I thought would have been kind of cool, and it would have been, kind of a callback because beforehand she died from going into freezing water, clearly, so I don't know technically if they would have attributed her heart stopping, her dying for 7 minutes to the cold or to drowning, either way. But now she's having another incident in water, but that doesn't happen. Some nuns run up in there and they get Cecilia off and, not Cecilia, Isabel off. And she's like screaming about that it was supposed to have been her.
Yep. She makes a comment like, they have to try again with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and so Cecilia is immediately like it's bad when a bitch almost drowned you, like very close, and you could tell that she's worried far less about what just happened and way more about what that bitch said when she was getting drug off. She was like, wait, hold on, what the fuck did she say?
Yeah.
Like she already the drowning was already out of her mind.
Yeah.
When she heard her say that, she was like, whoa, wait, what was that?
Yeah. Because even after it's over, they have her checking her out to make sure everything's okay. And they're like, checking the ultrasound shit. And, Cecilia's like asking that dude, like, what the fuck was she talking about? She made the comment like, hey, explain to me what she just said. This bitch just tried to drown me.
Yes.
So, and now, and then Cecilia's trying to be like, she's starting, a little light bulb is starting to go off.
Yes.
She's like, I want to see another doctor. Like, I want a second opinion because I don't trust this motherfucker. And the bearded dude was trying like, no, you don't need a hospital. We're going to take care of everything here. This is going to be the safe. And he makes the comment. He says, this will be the safest place here until our Savior is born.
Yes. Yes, and she kind of doesn't react as much to that as she should have, in my opinion.
Yes.
Like, you should have flipped the fuck out and been like, whoa, what? Wait, hold on.
Exactly.
I got chicks trying to drown me, saying that they got to try again with them. Try what again? No one's explaining that to me. You're talking about a savior being born. I'm the only one pregnant here. What the fuck are we talking about? And I guess at this point they had all just accepted the fact that since it's an immaculate conception, that must be it. But I can't remember how much. And so Isabel, was this after she had asked to go?
After she asked him to take her to a doctor, they basically talked her out of it. So this is the safest place.
Right.
And then next thing you know, we just have Cecilia walking out in like the little courtyard area.
Okay. And this is another part where you can kind of get an Omen vibe.
Yeah.
But with this one, it's not as much pomp and circumstance. She's just walking, and a body just fucking drops.
Yeah, because you
from high up.
You see it in the background, like the little moving on the top. And next thing you know, it just nosedives.
Yep. And which I liked it. I liked the way that was done.
Yeah.
And this is another part that's kind of gory because when they run up to it and they turn the face.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know who it was.
No,
because the face looks like the skin just blew the fuck off of it when it made impact. But they're like, it's Isabel. She's got this little cross pendant that she's had on the whole time. To me, that was the only recognizable thing on this bitch's corpse because that face was fucked up. It looked like she dove like teeth first. Did you almost fall?
Yeah, I did. My dad scared me.
You okay?
I had one of them death scare moments.
I saw it in your eyes.
Yeah, man. My little chair where it locks, it unlocks.
Oh, fuck those locks.
Yeah. Oh, I don't edit shit, so y'all.
No, yeah, fucking everybody enjoy that
face. But
yeah. If you made it this far in the video, I enjoy.
Yeah, but when she rolls her over, it was so creepy because her face looked like hamburger meat, and you see her two eyes just kind of looks like it's looking up at Cecilia.
Yeah,
you know. And even to this point, our girl Cecilia is just so. I don't know, man. I would have been. They would have had to pry me off the front door because I'd have been on that motherfucker just like, you got to get me out of here. I got to go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I try to get the whole thing of clearly like she's young, naive. She's not piecing all this shit together, but I mean, she's also in a foreign land. They're able to speak language freely around her that everybody else speaks that she doesn't know. So she's in a terrible case scenario when it comes to all of this. There's only certain amounts of sneakiness and creepiness they have to do because of that language barrier on top of it. So but it's after this is when like Gwen just fucking erupts one day.
Because she asked her, Gwen asked her, they're walking somewhere, and she's like, it's been 5 months and they haven't even taken you to a hospital yet.
Yes. And that's when she lets you know she asked and they refused.
Yeah. And then Gwen just goes in on all of them. Like, fuck this, fuck you.
Fuck you.
You're cool.
Yeah.
And she's like throwing, and even the, big hat guys down there, and she's going in on all of them.
Yeah.
And they just drag her off. And then I'm sitting there going, Cecilia don't say shit.
No, she's like, again, the situation's getting like just worse and worse around her. And to me, it just seems like she's not realizing how bad the situation's starting to look. Like she's never watched horror movies before. This character has never seen them before. Because anybody who had seen even a basic one would already be like losing their fucking minds with terror over what's happening to it. She hasn't quite gotten there yet.
No. Until she gets nosy.
Yes. The curiosity wells back up, and there's a picture of a virgin, or like I think it's a Virgin Mary in her room. It's her room, right? If I'm remembering it correctly.
Yeah.
And there's like there's chains that's holding them up.
Yeah.
That's it's chains hooked to the frame, and then it hooks to there. Well, one of the chains snaps. And when she sees the inscription back behind it, it's in Italian.
Yep.
But even I knew because of being brought up, Christian, I could tell. I was like, that's Corinthians. I was like, I don't know anything else is saying, but that's when she goes and looks that up, and What does it say on there? Let me
It says
see.
Satan himself sometimes masquerades as an angel of light.
Yes. And so someone had written that behind all of that. And so then she hears some screams.
She goes looking for Gwen.
Because she's hearing some screams.
Yeah.
And she finds her, and they're going straight like fucking Spanish Inquisition on her. They have, and we haven't said this, but right before, and there's been a few other times where the red hooded, they're not hoods because they're masks that pull over. They're popping up randomly throughout the scene. You see two of them up on that top floor that Cecilia dove off of when she or not Cecilia, Isabel dove off of. You're seeing them around.
Yep.
And at this point, there's one of them going to fucking work on Gwen, who is bound.
Yeah, strapped down in a chair.
And they fucking cut her tongue off, bro.
And not even
old school.
Yeah, old school. They had like the contraption in her mouth, holding her mouth up, grab the little tongs, pull her tongue out. And then it's like, you can tell he did not have a nice little sharp doctor scalpel. This is what he grabbed the drawer out of the kitchen drawer. And just like, you can tell it was one of them cuts her tongue off, but he had to work through it. Like, it wasn't like a quick little like slice.
No. And then at that point, it's when she's like, because she's like looking through a door. She can't do anything about it. She's just witnessing it. Well, that's when that old nun patient that cut her hair earlier, it comes up behind her and calling her saint and hands her, it looks like a fucking hair doll.
Yeah, it's like a hair doll. Yep.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, how many more times did she cut this bitch's hair? Because from what I saw, there wasn't enough hair cut in that one time to have made that hair doll.
Or she has been collecting them from the past girls.
Dude, very possible, because I love it because she's all sweet and and then Cecilia's losing it and she's crying, or she just saw this happening. When she saw that with Gwen, I think everything suddenly, she saw everything for like clearly for what it was right then and there. Like she went from 0 to 60 immediately and was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And then that's when she's telling that. And again, I say old nun, this is a patient nun. She's there to die. She's crazy. This is the one from earlier. And when she tells her, like, please, you have to help me get out of here. And that bitch goes stone cold faced.
Yeah.
Beautiful acting, whoever this lady was. Yep. And basically looks at her. And the whole time this lady's been talking to her in Italian, except for like a couple of words. And she goes, you're never, or what is it? You will never leave this place.
Yeah. And the look on her face, like when she shifted, like, because this whole time when you seen that old lady, she just kind of had this kind of innocent look. And so
you can tell like she's like, like she's fucking out of her head, but she's happy. And about it.
When Cecilia seen her, because Cecilia, remember, had helped her back to bed and stuff.
Yeah.
Cecilia seen her as like, super like, and she even said, like, we need to get out of here.
Yes.
And next thing you know, that old lady's face just went from like kind of, spaced out grandma to like bitch. And when she looks at her and her forehead kind of wrinkles, and she's like, you will never leave here. And then,
she kept giving her the shit stare while she walked back to her bed too.
Yeah.
She kept looking at her like, what the fuck you think this is? You think you're going to leave? Like, offended that this girl thought she was going to be allowed to leave.
Yeah. How dare you ask?
And I remember I went and I looked at Joe because she watched with me. And I was like, oh shit, she's on their side. Oh fuck. Like,
yep. And then the next morning, and then I was kind of bugged out a little bit though. I was still, one time, Cecilia let her girl Gwen just get drug off. Gwen just stood up for you. She stood up there, cussed out big hat guy, everybody. They dragged her off. You didn't say shit. Then
she is really pregnant at this point, though. By this point, it's 5-6 months with the Gwen thing. So I get it. She's
pregnant. But even when she goes down there and she's peeking through the little hole, she sees the little red-faced nuns and they're chopping the tongue off. And you see, they give you a close-up, like she's got a tear running down her eye. Like, but you could have banged on distracted them, maybe. I don't know. It was just
I
like in
mean,
that moment, she was just like, this is all
no,
about.
she was like, I don't want them to fucking cut
Yeah.
my tongue out. I ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, she was like, well, I really didn't know Gwen.
Yeah,
That
let me
good,
see. Let me see if this old lady wants to fucking leave.
Yeah,
But yeah, so
Gwen didn't share a cigarette with me, so fuck Gwen.
yeah, and so the next day, you don't know what this at the time, but she fakes a miscarriage. Pretty good. She's got the survival instincts are kicking in now.
Yeah.
The way that it is on the day, it's like a Saturday. The resident doctor's not there. They won't be able to do anything until like no one will get to him until like Monday. They gotta take her to a fucking hospital. Yep. And for them, their miracle savior, it could be dying. So they absolutely do that. Well, so the bearded priest and who else?
Whoever the driver was, he had a driver and then the bearded.
Yes. Oh yeah, because there was that other priest that had the weird nose that was kind of kicking around. Yeah.
Yep.
So they're taking her. She's in the back and all this other stuff.
Blood
and
all over. Blood.
Yes, yes, blood all over. The Mother Superior, she's upset. She's at Cecilia's bed and she's praying. Nasty bitch.
Blood
the blankets
over.
are covered in blood. Now let's remember this is supposed to be vagina blood, a fucking miscarriage blood. Fucking gross. And she said they're praying and she's bunching the blanket and smearing it all over her face. Me and Joe both went, ugh, like fucking gross. Like
I was like, oh, you nasty bitch. Because she, like, even when she picks her head up, she's got all that blood.
Oh, yeah.
And that shit got a smell.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
Fellas, we've all went chasing Red Wings. That shit had that smell. Had to have a little something to it.
There's something different. And even so, even if there was no smell, this is blood from another woman's vagina. Yeah. But yeah, she does that well. What is it that makes her look under the bed? I can't remember. What does she see?
She sees a feather beside
the feather. There's the feather beside the bed. She's like, all right, what's this? And she looks underneath. And it's because when they're showing all the montage of all the work they're doing, at one scene they're showing how they raise chickens there and they cut the heads off. And she can't do it. She's too squeamish to do it. Well, she got one of them and fucked that chicken up inside, like wrapped it out of a towel.
Yep.
And that's where all the blood is. Well, Mother Superior apparently has a fucking cell phone on her.
Yep.
And fucking rings up the priest while they're driving her to the hospital. And I'm like,
and she's still in the back seat selling it. She's still
selling it like a motherfucker. And she can see as he's talking and kind of looking back. She can see on his face. She stays committed.
Yeah.
I'll give Cecilia that. Once she wised up, bro, she went in hook, line, and sinker. And she waited till the last minute, and you basically just see her like, shit. Like, and then gets out of that back seat, and it just cuts to her, what at this point, around 6 months pregnant.
I think she's in like the third trimester or something.
Yes. By this some
it.
time has skipped between the Gwen thing and now. Yes, you're right. And she's pregnant as shit, running across the field. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, if this bitch outruns two dudes in their early 40s to like late 30s, early 40s, and they're not pregnant, I was like, I'm done with this movie right the fuck now. No, they get her. They get her, and then they take her back, and they make sure she ain't gonna fucking leave again. We left out the part earlier where she saw the old lady. Was that the same old lady that she'd been talking to?
Yep. She went and took her back to bed that night.
That's right.
Pulled the blanket up to her neck, and it came off her feet.
And I remember that old lady had massive fucking feet.
Yeah,
I just kept thinking that. I was like, Joe, look at her feet. They're fucking big. Well, on the bottom, there's scar tissue that's in the shape of a cross, a crucifix.
Yep.
Oh boy. They get Cecilia and they get her strapped in.
Strap her into like a wheelchair.
Yes.
Little bearded priest takes her down to like a special room, like a little laboratory. And this is where he starts revealing what they've been doing over the last 20-something years.
Yes, because they had said something earlier when they were talking about like their backstory when they were drinking the wine after her thing. about how he had been into like he had been like a biologist
Yeah.
he found religion later in life and then joined the church after he had already done biology and was pretty successful at it apparently. Well, yeah, so this is where he lets her know that when they studied the spike, the Jesus spike, they found DNA and bone fragment pieces and stuff like that, and they've been artificially inseminating women, I guess, with.
That's where it kind of lost me.
Okay.
It kind of made me go 2,000-year-old DNA.
Right. Yeah, there we go. This I'm looking at it right now to maybe do it. That he was a geneticist before he became a priest, and used DNA samples taken from the Holy Nail to impregnate nuns in order to try to do this. So basically what had happened was that she did pass out from the drink, but he had spiked her drink. And while she was passed out, they artificially inseminated her with Jesus, with I'm guessing what they assume, but with the DNA that's on this fucking nail. They're assuming it's Jesus. And at that point, because in the laboratory, doesn't he have like fucked up fetuses and shit? Yeah.
Like trial run.
Where they had failed this before and everything like that. And like now it's working and all this other stuff. And they fucking take they give her the old fucking hot crosses on the bottom of the feet. And my God, did I feel that, bro? I was like, oh,
I knew whenever he walked in, he's rolling her through, and you see the guy sitting to the side, the weird nose guy, and he's got the little fire poker in the fireplace. And I said, oh, I bet that's the crosses. Because he makes a comment like, we got to make sure you don't run off again or some shit like that. And then you see him reach down and grab her by the foot. And she is screaming, dude. And I was like, oh, is it going to show it? Is it going to show it? But it don't show it. But
no, it doesn't.
You can feel it. You can feel her pain through the screams.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, for sure with that. And so
they do both feet.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So she obviously heals up from that. It's at this point, it's getting to the point where like the baby's gone, it's any fucking day now. And at this point, this is where she tries this. Doesn't she try to leave again at this point?
No, this is then it gets to the part where because it's almost like she's kind of like decaying because earlier she throws up, a tooth comes out.
Yes, that happens.
Then after all this, with the cross feet, she's now in her third trimester. She's in a little confession booth talking to the big hat guy. And you see her reach down and she's got the little key, and it grabs her fingernail and and it shows her like pull that nail off. And when
it does.
That shit, because they even do it to where you see the little skin still attached. And
it was well done. It was
very well done.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, I don't know what it is about seeing fingernails and shit get fucked with, but that'll make my skin crawl.
Yeah.
And she says, she's talking to him and she makes a comment to him. She goes, "This is not God's work." And then the priest, arrogant as fuck, he's like,
right,
if it's not God's work, then how come he hasn't stopped us? Like, like you arrogant, big top guy.
Yes, absolute asshole. So it's after that she tries to like flee or something. Because she ends up, I think she's trying to escape when she kills the nun.
No, they have her in there having an ultrasound. She's getting an ultrasound done. The doctor guy, he tells the nun, he's like, "I'm going to go get her medication. You stay here with her." So the nun,
she's one-on-one with the nun. Yes.
And that nun sitting there with the ultrasound thing, and she's kind of like, you see her moving around on her belly, and she's kind of like smiling and shit. And then you see our girl Cecilia reaches over, grabs this fucking cross.
Yes, there we go. Yes, that's right. Yeah, beats the nun to death with it,
dude. When she pops her the first time, and then she kind of gets up, and you can tell her feet still bothering her.
Yeah,
I thought maybe it was going to be one of them typical horror movie moments, if they hit them one time and then they run off. No.
Yeah.
Cecilia at this point has had enough.
Yes, and the movie shows several hits.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not like she's swinging down at the camera and the blood shooting up.
Yeah.
They got the prop head and everything in there, and she is beating this fucking thing's face in.
Yeah.
And it looks good, and it's that's what's crazy with a lot of these like possession type movies. Gore is never the first thing to come to mind.
No.
So this may be one of the more gorier like ones that's trying to be. This is clearly taking inspiration from Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby, The Omen, a lot of your classic, like good, evil, biblical horror type things. So she does that, and then while she's fucking like running, the water breaks.
I love that part.
That was so good.
Because when she walks out after she bashes a nun's head in, she walks out there and you can tell she's about ready to take off.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, sploosh, water hits the floor. And then she's like, God damn it.
Yes. And I was like, dude, that's so good.
That was a good part.
And so, all right. So after this, this
is where we get the smoker on the balcony.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Yes. So yeah, because she strangles old priests before then.
No, the dude, the big top priest is out on the balcony.
There we go. Yeah, he's out on the balcony smoking. That's when she comes up behind him with the rosary, chokes him out and everything like that. Then she goes down to the lab.
Yeah.
Because
when she kills off the old big top priest with the rosary, she reaches down and grabs his lighter.
Yeah.
And then she
that's when she's like all the chemicals and shit in the lab and stuff. She like lights the fucking lab up with all the flammable chemicals.
But that was after she left that priest and went straight down there and grabbed that spike.
You're right. Okay, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep.
Because she was going to take that with her, correct? I guess to stop this crap if she left with it. And then so then she goes down there and tries to destroy the lab, gets into it with the biology priest.
Yeah.
And then she manages to get out of there.
There was a good part though, like when she got away from him, like he could tell what her plan was. So he went after her, started fighting. She gets to the door and basically gets away from him, slams the door, locks it, and as she gets ready to run, he comes through the little window thing and grabs her by the hair and snaps her back. And then that's when you see that liquid shit coming out from under the door. And I'm sitting there going, oh, she's going to light his ass up.
Yes. And he was stuck in there. She was going to trap him in there with the explosion. Yeah. Which she does because she manages to go. And then, he gets a little fucked up. Yeah. But he manages to get out.
It's crazy because in this part, the way he is screaming.
Yes, like, I thought he was dead.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, while she's on the floor, you hear like a fire extinguisher going off. You can hear it like in the background, and I'm sitting there going, either somebody came in, or he knew where the fire extinguisher was, and he's putting himself out. And so, and she realizes it because he's kind of like, oh shit, I need to.
This ain't over yet. Fuck.
Yeah, and so she comes out and basically
that's when she keeps going lower and then she ends up in those catacombs.
Yeah. And she finds her little flashlight and
I remember because Joe doesn't like the idea of caves, catacombs, shit like that. She don't like, so she's just like, what the fuck is it? She was like, France has these fuckers. She's like, so does Italy. I was just like, I think everywhere in old Europe has fucking catacombs and they fucked up shit went on down there. But yeah, so they go down there. And yes, that's where she finds Gwen's body.
Was that Gwen?
I believe it was supposed to be Gwen. That's the only thing I could see because it looked like it had been kind of fucked up.
But I'm wondering, I thought maybe it was, but then I was like, if they were going to kill her, then why'd they go through the whole just cutting her tongue off if they were just going to kill her? That's why
You could be right then. Maybe it could have just been a mutilate. It could have just been a fucked up body.
It could have just been another one that had a test run that had failed.
Yeah, because that actually what you're saying probably would have made more sense. Is like that's where they were putting like the bodies of the girls to where shit was going wrong and they were dying in the process or something like that. But yeah, she's about to get out and then
she sees the light at the end of the tunnel.
And that fucking Two-Face, the priest, because he's fucking got some burns on him and shit like that. And so they're going at it, and that's when he about fucking pulls an inside.
Yeah,
and
that's what I thought, because he's on top of her, and like he's doing his little prayer, and next thing you know, he got a fucking scalpel in his hand.
Yeah,
they're going like, this dude's about to fucking just reach in there and pull old Savior out.
yes, but she gets that's where she's got the fucking spike though.
Yeah,
and she fucking does it and puts it through their fucking thing long ways like that.
All the way through his neck.
Beautiful kill. Looks good. Finally does the job. And so she gets outside of the cat. This is all right. So now earlier when we were talking about her acting ability, is this the scene coming up that you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Because when she comes out of that tunnel and she stands up and we see this blood-soaked gown.
Oh, yeah.
You see the side of the gown ripped open where he bit it open with his teeth to rip it and so she's standing there, blood all over her face, his blood. Yeah. And it's such a badass scene when she stands up, you know.
Oh, yeah. Great final girl scene. Oh, yeah. She survived it. And I'm like, fuck yeah, badass bitch. And man, are we so not fucking over yet?
No, because, and one of the most worst things I hate is any type of child birthing anything. Like, give me any gruesome shit, murder, whatever, killing, shaking babies. I don't care. But you throw us a lady up there giving birth, and that just got. So she, you know, at some point you were waiting for it because the water done broke. At some point, this thing's coming out.
And I mean, we're you know, Joe's about to be 38 weeks with Dizzy. If I haven't said anything before, yes, we have our fourth one. No, we're not Mormons. I get it. Put all the jokes in your comments. But you know, that's one of the things to try to get labor to start is exercise. So the fact that her water's broke, she's jostling around and doing all this stuff with a baby. Yeah, dude, this thing is coming. And dude, when it almost felt like this scene was from an entirely different movie. Yeah. This thing. And yeah, because when she starts giving birth, and it's basically just focusing on her fucking blood-covered face. Yes. And she is guttural screaming. I don't know if Sydney Sweeney's gave birth. If she hasn't, she acted like she has. And usually screams and stuff like that can get on my nerves over time. Dude, it felt like she screamed for like nonstop for like 2 minutes. Took breaths and stuff like that. Yeah. But I mean, it was guttural. Like she's really trying to push that motherfucker out.
Yeah. Because I remember when she started screaming.
Yeah.
I'm expecting 1 or 2 screams, and then it's whatever. No.
Hear a baby cry or something.
They left that little saying, like, you know, pause for the
dramatic effect. Yeah.
When she started screaming, and then she kept screaming, and then a part of me, I'm sitting there going, please stop. Like,
like what the
fuck's had enough.
Happening?
She's had enough.
Because it's just they're not cutting to anything. No. It's just Sydney Sweeney staring at you directly into the camera, screaming and going fucking like cave woman on it. And she does like great.
Close up, like whole screen is just her face, blood all over it. You could tell it's almost like even the spit coming out of her mouth. It is just so, man.
It's very effective, very well done. Like she crushes this
thing. For her. I was like, just please let her stop.
And so then she gives birth. All right. So now this is where I'm starting to get real excited, right? Because like Rosemary's Baby is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, we've clearly got some sort of fucking weird because she reacts to seeing it and is like, clearly what the fuck is that? Like, it's definitely not normal, whatever the fuck she just gave birth to. And like, this has been and by the way, another thing, this has been a one shot ever since she comes out of the catacombs until the credits roll. This is a one shot, one take of the whole time. If you didn't catch that the first time, dude, like, go back and rewatch it. It's crazy. So then she's seeing this thing and it's making these fucking noises. Did you catch the noises?
I caught it, but for me,
it was like a gurgling, growling fucking thing.
See, I took it as in my mind when I watched it, I took it as, that's the gurgling noise. It was just born. But for me, I like thinking that was a healthy baby boy that she just plopped out on the ground. And I like that because what made me like thinking that way was just how much more balls it took for her to do what she did. Because if that had been some little creepy looking demon thing on the ground, doing what she did would have been like, okay. But I look at it like that was a healthy baby boy she just gave birth to. And
so she's seen it. Yeah, I heard more of the animal sound, so I'm thinking we've got some sort of fucking like chimera hybrid god human abomination sitting there.
Yeah.
So then she just walks away from it.
Yeah.
And you see it in the background.
Yeah.
The baby. You can't. And so this is where I'm like, are they going to show it? Because that's my biggest thing I hate about Rosemary's Baby is they never show the baby. They talk about the hooves and the eyes, but they don't show it. Yeah. I just even wanted a weird shot of like the eyes or something. Just show me that fucking demon baby. I want to see the fucking demon baby. And I wanted Immaculate to show me the fucking demon baby. And they don't. But unlike Rosemary, who decides to fucking give in and take care of her fucking monster that she gave birth to, not Sister Cecilia. How does she end the movie?
She
How did the credits roll?
Yeah, she walks over there, and like I said, she's just giving birth. Another badass part, she grabs the umbilical cord, puts it in her mouth, bites it with her teeth to break off the umbilical cord.
Yep.
Walks over to like these little walls that they have like bricks, like rock walls. Walks over there, picks up this rock.
A large rock.
Yes. Back over to the nice little healthy baby boy. And here's what my first thought was. I thought, like, when she picks the rock up over her head, I was like, are they going to make this baby do a little coo sound? And she's going to double think it and be like, and then because I'm sitting there going like, kill it.
Yeah, we know you did kill that baby.
Yeah, drop that rock because I was going to be mad. I was going to be so mad if this thing made a little baby sound, and then she puts the rock down, and then I get credits. I would have been so.
But that would have been an okay ending too, though. I know you wanted her to kill, and I believe me. Once it got there, I was like, "You're not going to drop that rock. Y'all are not going to fucking drop that rock. Yeah. Y'all aren't going to drop that fucking rock." And she fucking swings that rock down. Go to black credits. That is 2024's Immaculate. Jay, are you fucking marrying or killing this thing?
I was killing this movie.
Wow. Okay.
All the way up until the last 10 minutes of it. The whole way through, I'm just kind of like, oh, it's typical. Got it. And once she popped that nun upside the head with that cross, I was like, okay, let me see where this goes, and then once I get to that ending, that when she comes out, that whole last shot of her coming out of that hole, giving the birth, her taking that rock, and then I went from killing it. It went right up to a good old fuck. It went up to a good, like, I will call you up again, and
Right.
we will do this dirty deed. We're gonna do
Yes.
it again.
Yeah.
We're gonna go down this dark, dirty road again.
Right.
And if that healthy little baby boy would have made a coo sound and she would have dropped that rock, I'd have killed that motherfucker.
You would have killed it
to the end of eternity. But yeah, the fact that she killed the baby, people, it gets a good fuck.
I'm with you. I'm giving it a fuck as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest thing I will complain about with this movie is it's a movie that it borrows so much from so many other movies and also from other genres, because if you guys have kind of caught while Jay and me have been talking, some of the references we're giving are from some very different movies. You know, we're sitting here talking about what it's got in common with The Omen and Rosemary's Baby and, you know, stuff like that. But the difference with The Omen and I said this to Joe, I was like, because this movie's only like 90 minutes. Like, it's like a perfect little runtime. And I told Joe when it was done, I was like, it's now, if they would have showed me that demon baby, I may would have married it just for that, because these movies don't do that. They don't even give you a glimpse, and this one didn't either, and I wanted to see it.
But if it would have showed me healthy baby boy, him look up at her with the little baby coo, and then she would have still slammed the rock, I'm marrying that bitch. She is marrying it.
but the movie, it feels almost like there was a couple of different scripts and a couple of different directors all making the same movie, because it's sometimes, you know, the setting is real gothic horror, so you're leaning into the supernatural and stuff like that, but the biggest threats to her are humans. There's nothing, she doesn't get attacked by anything supernatural.
No.
The one supernatural thing actually in the movie is the thing she gives birth to, and she kills it with a rock at the end of it. So there's that. And then, of course, what's even more so is, again, we don't think of gore when we think of psychological, spiritual entity horror. That's not what comes to mind. And you've got some fucking gnarly parts in here.
Yeah.
The cross beating scene is very up there. I mean, it's not going to get you on a list, but I mean, when you think of like some of the more extreme violent horror movies that you would consider to be a jumping off point, they have scenes like that in them. The close up of Isabel's peeled face from when she fell. What was the other one we had talked about earlier?
The kneecap was a good one too.
The kneecap was that was gross. The fact that even if it doesn't show it, she kills the baby with a stone. So this movie's all over the place. What I will say, though, is that I liked Sydney Sweeney in it. I didn't care so much for how, I know it was supposed to be naive, but it took so long that I started to think she was kind of dim.
Yeah.
Like she was a little stupid. Naive. It was beyond naive at that point.
She's played that. If you had a dumb blonde nun, she played like dumb blonde. Like, come on.
Yes, and part of that, I think, because of how good she is at the ending, and the fact that I know she's definitely, even though I haven't seen her and stuff, she's got a lot of range. You know, everybody loved her. You know, that, like I said, that rom-com in the U.S. made like almost $250 million. Like it did like over 200, like in the box office, crazy numbers. So she's definitely got the acting ability. I think it may have came down to the director making her be. That's a fine line between naive and dumb, and I think they fucked up on this one. But man, is she fucking good. Like you said, once she's in that ultrasound room and she gets that crucifix and gets a hold of that Mother Superior nun, this movie lights the fuck up. It's still not perfect. I didn't like the fact that she had trapped the priest in that room with all of that fire and he was able to escape.
Yeah.
To me, that seemed like a perfectly good place to have killed him.
Yeah.
And you could have still let her escape, but I did like the stab with the neck.
Oh, yeah.
All that other stuff, you know, so it is fine. But again, it's not perfect. She does great. that last scene is a fucking banger.
Yeah.
And that thing is and she deserves tons of praise for the performance in that. So yeah, like I said, it's a fuck, but there's nothing really original here. It's like a big gang bang of a lot of other movies you've seen before.
Yeah.
And they don't always pull it off, but I'd say to anyone, I watched it on Hulu.
I did too.
It's out. You can buy it now. I'm going to buy it. This is the kind of horror I like, this kind of shit. So like I said, for me, it's worth the purchase for me if it's a this kind of horror and it's a fuck. That's good. There's a ton of shitty, and there's a ton of shitty possession, religious horror movies, tons of them. This one's very good. It's well made. It looks good and all that other stuff. It's not going to be a waste of your night. But man, that last scene alone is worth the other 80 minutes to watch the last 10 minutes of this movie. Those last 10 minutes are a fucking Mary.
Yeah. If I had to, I would.
And like you said, that scene alone at the end, that's a Mary scene. That's a really good, committed marriage that's got great grandchildren. Like that fucking scene is a good one.
Yeah. That, like I said, from that moment, the ultrasound, like you said, when she grabbed that cross, from there to the credits, I'd marry that whole part over and over again. You know, she was. I was like you. I didn't like the kind of dingy way that she had to play. But man, that ending though, dude, I could put that bad boy on repeat. I could skip 80 minutes of the movie and just let me get to that last group.
Well, and that's the thing is like, that's where I said, like, a lot of this movie is it's kind of a jumbled mess it just feels a little off. The whole fucking movie just feels like puzzle pieces were maneuvered where they had to be. And it has most horror movies fuck up the ending.
Yeah.
Like most of them, you like it the whole time. Then you get the ending and you're like, man, fuck this piece of shit. This one is completely, I mean, it's like I said, there's effective scenes and stuff like that. I'm not saying that, but this one nails the fucking ending, but you kind of got to go through much of nothing to get to the ending.
Yep.
But yeah, so definitely a fuck from me. Highly recommended. If you got Hulu, I know it's on video on demand, all that stuff. Definitely worth your time just for that last 10 minutes alone. But yeah, man, it is not perfect at all.
No. But the last shot is perfect.
I would honestly say if it wasn't for that last 10 minutes, this would have been a kill for me.
Yep.
This would have been in a big pile of other supernatural, spiritual, religious horror that this one would have been near the top of the heap, but just the ones that just failed to make the greats. And it's not great, but man, I'm going to remember that ending scene for sure, where she comes out of those catacombs and it's just her on camera for those last like 3 to 5 minutes. I'm going to remember that for a long ass fucking time.
Oh yeah. That was so good. And like I said, it made me feel, I felt bad. I'm asking for it to stop. Like, let her stop screaming. And then not in an annoying screaming.
No.
It was
like
a
I felt
way
like,
where you felt
it felt real. It felt real.
Yeah. And it was and it was so good. Like when you heard it finally hit the ground.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, without a beat, she just grabs that umbilical cord, and the way she's doing it, when she even bites it, there's a part of her you can tell like she hates whatever came out of her.
Yeah, she's not happy with what she's looking at.
Yeah,
she only did that so that she didn't drag it with her when she went to go get a rock to fucking kill it. That's the only reason she did that. There was no motherly instinct or anything. She was literally severing the tie and going to go kill this mistake and then get on with her life.
And nailed it.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's a fuck, and it could have been a Mary. That scene though, for real, everybody, just that last 10 minutes. If you find yourself not giving a shit, get to the last 10 minutes, then let us know how you feel.
Just fight through. If you're watching it going, I've seen this shit before, just get to the end and just people can say what they want to about. There's some people that may not be fans of Sydney Sweeney, but I haven't seen her anything. It's the only thing I've seen her in, and you could give me her in that last 5 minutes, and I'm a fan forever. Like I said, she's that fucking good. And
I want to see her in a horror movie where she has to be where she needs to be that amped up.
Yeah.
Because of what's going on in the movie for most of the film.
Yeah.
I think she would be fucking awesome with that. Because I was even the whole time really up until this point, I was getting a lot of like, does anyone give a shit about this girl? She's like I said, in my personal opinion, she's good looking, nothing to write home about. She looks like an average girl next door, which is what some guys can kind of obsess over sometimes. Like, she looks normal.
Yeah.
But acting wise, because of how ditzy they kind of had her being, I wasn't even sure if she was that good of an actress.
Yeah.
And then she just smokes it at the end. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to blame the director for that, because this chick clearly can fucking act. Like,
yeah, she nails it in the end.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so we got 2 fucks here for Immaculate. Like I said, we both watched it on Hulu, and go check it out. Stop by in the comments. You know, if you've seen it, let us know. Go check us out on all the social media sites. We're on Facebook, Instagram, X. Follow along on the YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, go like, subscribe to the channel.
Yes.
Subscribe to the shit show.
Getting really close to 100.
We're getting close to 100. I said.
You're at 92 as of the time of us recording this.
Yeah, like I said, some people be like, oh, 92. Hey, we appreciate the small stuff here. And when I get to 100, we're YouTube living, and we're going to have us a little celebration of 100 subscribers. There will be no playing that night when we do go live. We're just going to come here, and we're just going to run our mouth and see what happens.
Well, I guess we're in a different situation this time. You actually know what you're recording for what the next episode is going to be.
Yes, the next episode, because we had a request through the YouTube.
Which make sure y'all do that. That we do read. I mean, it's not like we get that many comments anyway. But if you request something, fuck yeah, let us know, because someone did, and we're gonna do it. Yeah,
I wanted to say it was something juice was his name in the YouTube, because he had mentioned the comment like, "Oh, I can't believe y'all haven't covered Martyrs yet," and I'm surprised we haven't hit Martyrs. You know, and so next week, by request from the YouTube, me and John will be back talking about Martyrs, the original.
Yes, that's very important. The 2008 one from Pascal Laugier, the French one. It's a damn shame we even have to fucking say that.
Yes.
Because there just shouldn't be that problem. We didn't need a remake of it, and it's absolutely pointless. But yeah, that one, I can't wait to rewatch it. I own it.
It's been a hot minute since I've seen it. I just recently got the Blu-ray on it, and so I'm looking forward to rewatching it, because it was one of the first ones I'd watched when I started. You know, you'd put me onto some horror stuff. So,
I found it. It's Dr. Juice.
Dr. Juice, yeah.
Yeah, he's so we'll shout him out. He said, "It's about high fucking time y'all covered Martyrs. Give me that sweet dream, please." And so that's gonna happen next episode.
Yep.
And I'm going to join Jay for it. He requested John and Joe, but as I mentioned earlier, Joe is insanely fucking pregnant. I will be on it in as long as there's nothing with Joe's delivery. I mean, she could go any day now, but if everything pans out, I will be on the Martyrs episode with Jay. So yeah, look forward to that one. Great suggestion.
Yeah, because when I seen the message from the Juice, I was like, yeah, let me hit John up, and I hit you up. I was like, hey man, about Martyrs. And like I said, so next week's episode, if sis-in-law still holding on to that baby, we'll be here talking some shit about the original Martyrs.
Absolutely. And don't forget, you guys, to check out the older episodes. And like he said, make sure you're following on the social media. Thank you all for checking out the unboxing videos. There's another collection video coming. You've got some interviews coming up. Yes. I don't know if you want to tell them dates and names but they are in the works.
Yeah, I do have a couple interviews coming up with some special people, and I'm not going to give that away on hold on to the names, because
so make sure you're following them on X and IG and shit like that, because once it gets ready, he'll make sure to tag it up there so y'all can spread the word for it.
They're busy people, and I realized that, when one of them hit me back and said they're going to penciling me in onto their schedule. I was like, holy shit, like that's a big deal. Like I don't know anybody that has a planner that has to put
right. When wasn't that one for like October?
Yeah, it's like
they're like we're gonna tentatively pencil you in October. So so everybody, like I said, make sure you're following Fright Flick FMK on X and IG and shit like that, so you can stay up on it. The numbers are going, man. Everybody, the shit show's growing. So
we definitely appreciate everybody who stops by. Listen, if you're listening on the podcast, I appreciate it. If you're, you've been watching the videos on the YouTube, a lot of y'all are killing it, and we definitely appreciate it. And but like I said, reach out, leave us comments. I do respond. I don't have a little bot that just sends out random shit. I'll check them and drop.
Well, like you say, you usually don't know what the next movie is you're going to cover. Yeah. So you guys suggesting something is even more fucking helpful, because Jay's basically going to be like, haven't done that one. You want it? Hell yeah. Because he don't know what he's going to do next week either. So
I'll just be on there scrolling through, and I'll just something jump at me like, fuck it, I won't talk about this. So so that's how, Juice made the request, and you ask, you shall receive, Juice. And so
Yep.
But that is I appreciate everybody stopping by again, listening to us talk some shit and hanging out with us. Hey, brother, I appreciate you coming on here once again.
Absolutely.
And if you're new to the show, me and John are like real life brothers.
Yes.
A lot of people just may not know that, but I appreciate you coming by, and I'm looking forward to Martyrs. Like, it's been a hot minute, and that's gonna wrap it up for this episode, family. We've reached that time of the show. You all know what to do. I need you to reach over. I need you to gather up your shit, grab your drinks, put your chairs away, and get the fuck out of here.
What's your favorite scary movie?
We have such sights to show you.
Monsters!
All you have left is my desire.
My name is Frankenstein! That man's got Mars!
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
See this? This is my boomstick! I ate his liver with some fava beans. Nice community.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
It's alive! It's alive!
Here's Johnny. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror.
Welcome to the debauchery.